All right, you've heard of life insurance, you've heard of motor insurance, health insurance, but you've also heard of travel insurance. We spoke about it yesterday. But have you heard about home insurance or natural calamity insurance? I'm going to actually let my next guest define it for you. We've got Ashwini Dubey, Head of Home Insurance at PolicyBazaar.com joining in. Ashwini, thanks so much for taking the time. The reason we're speaking about this is this spate of natural calamities. You've got Cyclone Montha that everyone's talking about. It may not have caused the damage that people were initially anticipating, but there's something to worry about, right? So the first question to you, first of all, thanks so much again for taking the time. The first question is, what does this cover?
First of all, thank you for inviting me to the show. So home insurance covers any damage that is done to the home due to any natural calamity or any other accidental damage. So it covers not just the home structure, the structure of the home that the person lives in, but also the contents within the home. So everything and anything and everything that makes up the home is covered under home insurance against acts of God, natural calamities such as earthquakes, cyclones, fire, man-made calamities like fire and accidental damages. Everything and anything under the sun can be covered under home insurance, both for the structure of the home and for the contents inside the home.
Is this a widely available product, Ashwini?
Right. So, contrary to popular belief, I think a lot of people are not aware of home insurance, so they might not know. Home insurance is extremely widely available. It's available. Anybody can buy it online. Anybody can buy it through any insurance agent or any financial institution for that matter. So the popularity is low because the awareness among the people is still building, and that is the reason why a lot many people are not even aware of home insurance. However, in other markets, if you look at markets like America or Europe, home insurance is something that has actually had more penetration than even motor insurance in those countries.
Oh, very interesting. Okay, so, and of course, motor insurance in India, it's compulsory for everybody to have, so everybody knows about it, right? Otherwise, they get challans or they get caught by the cops. But in this case, you've already highlighted what this covers. But I'm just wondering, how does this get priced? Because from the perspective of an insurance company, ultimately they're looking at the risk of something happening. So actually, before we get to that, let's talk about what kind of cover people should ordinarily consider getting, right? Because you're talking about, in the case of a cyclone, there could be structural damage, but in most cases, you're not talking about a possibility of a structural damage, right? In places like Mumbai or places like Pune that are not really prone to certain natural calamities. Of course, you could have a flood in Mumbai, but if you're on the 14th floor, then it's not going to matter to you. So how do you determine what kind of cover you need?
So that's a very relevant question. So home insurance covers not only natural calamities, but also accidental damages and calamities such as fire. So in apartment buildings, generally what we see is majority of the damage does not happen due to natural calamities such as earthquakes or hurricanes. It actually happens due to fire. Especially, you would have seen the high number of fire incidents that would have happened recently in North India after Diwali or during Diwali, the Diwali celebrations. In a lot of places, in a lot of high rises, there are a lot of fires. Similarly, if people remember a few months back, there was an extreme tragedy in Delhi where a family actually lost, many people in the family lost their lives because of a fire that happened in an apartment building. So fire is one of the things that is covered under home insurance, and any damage due to fire, which could be caused due to a short circuit, which could be caused due to gas cylinder burst or any other such accidental reason, that is also covered under your home insurance, and that makes it more relevant for people living in areas which are not extremely prone to calamities. However, for people who are living in, let us say, coastal areas or earthquake-prone areas, or let us say people living in Uttarakhand, Himachal, places where events like landslides, incidents like landslides are something that do happen on a yearly basis, and we've seen such gruesome visuals about it this year as well. all those things are covered, and that makes it relevant for those geographies. For the other geographies, people living in apartments, uh, the possibility of any loss due to something like a fire makes it more relevant for them.
Got it. What about costing, right? Because it's not, while there is, as you pointed out, a spate of fire incidents, they're not as common in places like Mumbai. I mean, it's news when you see it happen. And frankly, speaking from a news network, it doesn't happen that often. So therefore, what is costing like?
So again, home insurance is extremely cheaply priced at the moment in India. So for a 1 crore home insurance for 1 year, the premium will be as less as 8 to 900 rupees. So it's not an extremely expensive product. And when I say 1 crore, this includes the cost of the structure and the home contents combined 1 crore. So let us say, as you take the example of Mumbai, so any apartment that is, let us say, worth 5 crore rupees, the cost of insuring an apartment worth for a value of 5 crore rupees would actually be very, very less. It'll actually be somewhere around 3,000 to 4,000 rupees for 1 year.
Wow. Okay, so that's quite a low amount, especially considering the damages that you can escape. A quick question, Ashwini. You mentioned loss of life, and there was that incident that you referred to. But I'm just wondering, would accidents where an individual faces a physical damage because of being in a fire, along with the damage to the house, also be covered in this?
Yes. So there are certain plans, there are certain companies that offer a personal accident cover as an add-on to the home insurance policy. So it's not a mandatory add-on, it's not a mandatory coverage. However, it is provided as an optional coverage that a person, anybody who's taking home insurance can take as an add-on. And they can define the sum assured, they can define the value of the personal accident cover that they want. And then that can also be covered. So if there is a loss of life due to any covered event, let us say a fire or an earthquake or any such event, then the personal accident amount also is paid out.
Are there any other add-ons that people should be aware of? You mentioned that you can buy a plain vanilla cover and it's not very costly to do. What other add-ons should people be aware of?
So home insurance has multiple add-ons that some add-ons are actually inbuilt within the cover.
Okay.
For example, let us say there's a one add-on called a loss of rent or an alternative rent for alternative accommodation add-on that is an inbuilt cover in most policies, where if there is a loss in the insured home and the person has to live on rent in a separate area, in another apartment or in another home, then the rent for that home will be paid by the company for an equal accommodation. Another add-on that people should look at is burglary. Burglary may not be a problem again in gated societies and apartment complexes, but it is a problem in a lot of times in standalone homes. So that is another add-on that people should look at. Similarly, then there are add-ons such as cyber insurance. Even pet insurance is provided as an add-on in home insurance policies. There are add-ons that include replacement of keys if keys are lost. So small to big, all sorts of add-ons are available here.
You know, robbery, I would think, should be a very basic thing to consider, right? Is it not part of the regular suite of products that is provided in in home insurance?
So home insurance does not cover burglary.
Okay.
Home insurance covers accidental damage to the home and the contents due to, let us say, a fire or any other natural calamity. A burglary policy is a separate policy, but that can be bought as an add-on to a existing or a new home insurance policy.
And is it costly to get, Ashwini? I'm just wondering, would it depend on the locality that you're living in, whether there have been instances of theft in your vicinity, etc.?
No, right now, that is the location or the geography is not a very big consideration. Since it is bought for a home, again, the price is extremely cheap. Burglary policy for 10 lakh rupees can be bought for 1 year for about 1 to 200 rupees.
Oh, it's that cheap, actually. Okay, interesting.
Yes.
I do want to understand whether there is a role that, well, not necessarily the regulator, but the state government or the central government or policymakers can have in order to create awareness about this product, because frankly, it is something that, particularly in areas that are more prone to natural calamity, people should be aware of. It's not something that costs a lot of money.
Yes, yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Governments, state government, central government, if possible, they should set up awareness campaigns. They should make sure that awareness for the main challenge that home insurance industry or home insurance business faces is awareness. People are not even aware of of the existence of the policy. And even people who are aware of the existence of the policy, many of them do not know or understand the coverages that are offered in the policy. And then the third problem, which I think is one of the big reasons why people hesitate in buying such policies, is what happens at the time of claims, whether a claim is paid out or is not paid out. One thing, sometimes what some people think that, in case of natural calamities, the government does provide some sort of compensation to the people. But again, that compensation may not be sufficient for them to be able to build their own home.
Sure.
Because as we all see that real estate prices and cost of construction, it keeps going up year on year. So even those grants or compensation by the government might not be enough to build their lives back on.
Ashwini, over the course of this conversation, I'm thinking that for people that lease out their homes, it makes a lot of sense for them to perhaps consider taking a home insurance policy. I'm just wondering whether regular wear and tear on account of use is also covered in this policy. If, for example, there is a leak, or if there is structural damage to a wall or something of that sort, is this also covered in home insurance?
So regular wear and tear is not covered by home insurance, and is not covered by any insurance policy. Even in a motor insurance, regular wear and tear is not covered. Accidental damage and damage due to a calamity, which is an unforeseen event, because wear and tear is not an unforeseen event. Wear and tear will happen in the natural course of time.
Sure.
So any financial loss due to an unforeseen event, like a natural calamity or a fire or accidental damage, those things can be covered under home insurance.
Understood. Okay. All right. I think we've covered all of the bases. Ashwini, thanks so much for taking the time. Pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to the show.
All right. Well, giving you something to consider if you own your own home. It costs a few ₹100 to get a cover for everything that you hold dear. That brings us to the end of this particular edition of Your Money Matters. Thanks so much for tuning in, and do stay tuned. This is NDTV Profit.